No, I think I'll be okay. I'm still trying to get rid of all of that stuff, so.
Okay, then you're gonna have to wait now.
Okay, so by a show of hands, how many of you have celebrated or do celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Okay, do me a favor and keep your hands up if you think that you know what St. Patrick's Day is celebrating. Okay, so 3 of you? Okay, so pretty much that's what I'm going to be talking about today, because I think that it's really important that when we are celebrating a holiday that we know the reason why we're celebrating it, and lots of times holidays kind of lose the point from the original reason of celebrating it, and it kind of loses that as years go by. I decided to choose St. Patrick's Day because I do have Irish ancestors, and we did just pass it, and so it was just kind of something that I felt I should be informed about a little bit more to kind of find out why are my ancestors, why do my ancestors celebrate this holiday? What's so important about St. Patrick's Day to my ancestors? So today I will talk about the history of St. Patrick's Day, some of the traditions, and then finally I will conclude with some information about leprechauns. We all know that St. Patrick's Day is on March 17th of each year, and the Irish have observed this holiday for over 1,000 years. But why? That's what I wanted to find out. First, who was St. Patrick? St. Patrick was born in Britain. He is not Irish. He is actually Britain. And he was born to a very wealthy family, and it's believed that he died March 17th, somewhere around 460 AD. Nobody's actually 100% positive of when his actual death was. At 16 years old, he was taken prisoner by Irish raiders from his home, and they took him to Ireland, and they forced him to be a slave from about 6 to 10 years. Nobody's exactly sure on how long he was actually there on that either. There seems to kind of be a lot unknowns about St. Patrick. He was working as a shepherd, and he was alone most of the time as he was working, so he turned to religion for solace, and he became a very devout Christian. And according to his journal, he escaped after he had a dream where God came to him and told him that it was time for him to escape and go back home to Britain. After he had a second dream of an angel coming to him, telling him that he needed to go back to Ireland and minister, he began a journey of 15 years of religious training, over 15 years of religious training. And after he was finished with that, he became an ordained priest, and he returned back to Ireland as a missionary. His dual mission was to minister to the Christians that were already living in Ireland, and also to convert the remainder of the Irish to Christianity. Since St. Patrick was familiar with the language and the culture of Ireland, he used their traditions and the things that were familiar to them in order to teach his Christian lessons. The Irish honored their gods with fires, so in order to celebrate Easter, St. Patrick did that with bonfires. And he also is the one that superimposed the sun onto the Christian cross, because that was more familiar to the Irish, and this cross is now known as the Celtic cross. The color green is often associated with, well, always associated with St. Patrick's Day. And this association comes from Ireland. It is an island of emerald green landscape. And then also the green shamrock, which was picked and put into the Irishmen's lapels in observance for St. Patrick's Day. However, a lot of people don't know the original color was blue. for St. Patrick's Day, and that color is also known as St. Patrick's Blue. We also know that there's a tradition of corned beef and cabbage. Corned beef and cabbage also was not the original traditional meal. It was boiled bacon in Ireland. In the 19th century, when Irish immigrants came over here, they were typically very poor and were not able to afford a lot of special meals. So one of their special meals was to buy cheap brisket and the cheapest vegetable that there was, which was cabbage, which is where we now have the corned beef and cabbage associated with St. Patrick's Day, because they would use that for their special occasions and holidays such as St. Patrick's Day. And it is an Irish-American dish, not an Irish dish. So now that brings us around to leprechauns, which we all see on St. Patrick's Day. The Irish are deeply rooted in mythology, including a wide variety of fairies, which is what leprechauns are. We know that leprechauns are under 3 feet. They dress in green, although originally, when the myth of leprechauns came out, they dressed in red with gold trim.
Awesome.
And they also hide pots of gold at the end of rainbows. Legend has it, if you're lucky enough to catch one, he has to tell you where his treasure is. So where's the association for St. Patrick's Day with leprechauns? Most people are actually surprised. Nothing. St. Patrick's Day has since become a celebration of everything Irish instead of what it originally was. Over 1,000 years ago, when St. Patrick's Day was first being observed, it wasn't corned beef and cabbage and the color green and leprechauns, and it was not about green beer. As a matter of fact, the pubs were actually closed down on March 17th in observance for the missionary that helped bring Christianity to Ireland. So that's quite a change since the beginning of this Irish tradition. So today I told you about the history of St. Patrick's. I went over who he was, some of the traditions, and then I covered some information about leprechauns. So now we can celebrate St. Patrick's Day with confidence of our knowledge and the original reason of what St. Patrick's Day is all about a saint and missionary that went to Ireland over 1,000 years ago and introduced them to Christianity. So I think I saw some leprechauns running around. Anyone feeling lucky? Thank you guys for all your time.